5 years. That is how long people have been waiting for Apple to upgrade the AirPods Max. Well, the AirPods Max 2 are finally here. And on paper, there is a lot to get excited about. The new H2 chip, better noise cancelling, better sound quality. Apple has clearly been listening. But they haven't been listening to everything, and some of the loudest complaints from the community have gone completely ignored. Today, we're going to break it all down. What has Apple delivered? What have they dodged? And is this the upgrade that fans have been waiting for? Let's start with what Apple have actually done, because the upgrades under the hood are quite significant. The biggest being the shift from dual H1 chips to dual H2 chips. That might sound like a simple number bump, but that is a shift to the same silicon that powers the AirPod Pros 3, and it unlocks a whole suite of features that Max owners have been jealous of for ages. Active noise cancellation gets a claimed 1.5 times increase. Now, the noise cancellation on the original AirPods Max was already fantastic, some of the best on the market. And if they've been able to get that much of an increase, that could be very impressive. But I do wonder how noticeable that will be. When it's already that good, will you notice the difference? Transparency mode is supposedly more natural, and they've finally brought in adaptive audio which blends noise cancelling and transparency based on your environment. That is made even more effective by the introduction of conversational awareness, which actively lowers the volume of whatever you're listening to as soon as you start a conversation. You've also got personalised volume to learn your preferences, and loud sound reduction to actively lower the impact of loud sounds around you to help protect your hearing. These are great features which will only enhance your experience, and it's really good to see them finally land on the Max. They've also added live translation. That is the ability to get real-time translation with someone speaking in another language over your headphones. They added this to the AirPod Pros 3. It's been really impressive. It's a great feature. Really cool they've brought it here. They also added the ability to use the digital crown on your headphones as a remote shutter button for the iPhone's camera, essentially bringing in all the smart features that the AirPod Pros had and instilling them into the AirPods Max. Really cool, but some of it does feel a little bit like ticking a box for the sake of it. Take live translation for an example. I could see people having conversations with their AirPods in their ears. They're quite unobtrusive and it would feel like quite a natural conversation. But with big bulky over-ear headphones on, it won't be quite the same. I think in an emergency, it could be a great thing to have, but it's probably not the go-to way of going about that situation. Similarly, the digital crown shutter button. Now, when they introduced this with the AirPod Pros 3, you're able to just squeeze the AirPods and it starts the timer on your camera. That's a great way of doing it because it's such a small thing that you can just hide out of sight. With a big bulky pair of headphones, it's going to overpower the image, or you're going to need to worry about hiding them really awkwardly when you take that photo. And I don't think it's quite the same. It just feels like they're putting it in because it's in the other device and they need to tick the box here. So let's move on to what is probably the most important bit, the sound quality. Apple has introduced what they call a custom high dynamic range amplifier. It promises richer bass, more natural vocals and better instrument separation. It should deliver lower distortion and a cleaner listening experience at higher volume levels. That sounds fantastic. We haven't been able to try them out yet, but the original AirPods Max had fantastic sound quality. They were warm, bass forwards, smooth and a little rolled off on the treble. It was a really good listening experience. Now, we don't know if Apple have completely redesigned the sound signature or if they've just rewritten the marketing copy, but I would be confident that you're going to get a good experience. Apple usually delivers when it comes to sound. I know the AirPod Pros 3 came under a bit of criticism for how much they redesigned the sound signature, but in general, I think Apple makes for really balanced listening experiences that are suitable for most people. But here is where it gets a little interesting and a little frustrating. Lossless audio. Now, people have been screaming for lossless audio ever since Apple announced lossless in Apple Music and then said that their flagship headphones wouldn't be able to do it wirelessly. Well, the Max 2 can deliver lossless audio, 24-bit, 48 kHz. Great, but only over USB-C. That is really disappointing. Over Bluetooth, you are stuck on AAC. Apple has been really clear here. Bluetooth is not lossless. You've got no LDAC, you've got no aptX, no wireless codec that helps deliver lossless. you were just stuck plugging in. So if you wanted to chill out on your sofa streaming Lossless on your iPhone, you are still going to need to plug in 2026 with headphones that cost over $500. Is this the step forward people wanted? Not really. Apple is leaning into some new angles for the Max 2, and they're leaning into the kind of creator narrative. Voice isolation is marketed, promising what they call studio quality vocals. That could be fantastic for somebody that needs a run and gun podcast setup, or even just for webcam use. But I would take that with a pinch of salt. I personally think it's highly unlikely that the microphone quality will be on par with a dedicated studio microphone, but I would love to be proved wrong. Siri gets a little nudge too. They've introduced head gestures. You know, you can nod to accept something, you can shake your head to deny it. I use this feature on the AirPods Pros 3 and it does work well, but you do look a bit ridiculous when you're walking down the street shaking your head. And lastly, Bluetooth steps up from 5.0 to 5.3. These are not headline features, but they do all add up. So let's discuss what Apple didn't do. And this is where it gets genuinely baffling. Apple has once again demonstrated their design stubbornness. The case. 5 years of internet ridicule. It's been called a sports bra, a handbag. It offers no protection. It is just there to help shut down your headphones because, and wait for it, there is no off button on these headphones. And Apple has kept it unchanged. As far as anyone can tell, the smart case for the Max 2 is entirely the same as the first generation. That is going to upset a lot of people. Without fail, every review I have ever seen of the AirPods Max has called out this flaw. It's incredibly frustrating. You don't want to need to put your headphones away in a case to shut them off. Let me put this plainly, for a pair of headphones that costs over $500, you should be able to turn them off without needing a separate accessory. That isn't a premium feature request, that is basic functionality. And in 2026, Apple has chosen not to include it. Sometimes you just want to take them off for a bit and have them ready to go back on, but not feel that battery draining. And battery is the next concern. Apple still promises just 20 hours with the Max 2. That's the same as it was in the first generation. Now that's not terrible, but the landscape has changed. Sony, Bose, Sennheiser, they all have devices with 30 hours, and companies like Nothing are putting things out with 100 hours active noise cancellation. It's really hard to feel like Apple have a compelling new device when they don't come out swinging with the specs that people expect. Next up, weight. Many people have complained about the long-term comfort of the original AirPods Max, and the new headphones actually come in slightly heavier. They measure in at 386 grams. It's the same design, it's the same metal hardware, and people will have complaints. But I'll be honest, I actually do enjoy wearing the original AirPods Max, and I probably will enjoy these too. The final missing feature is simple portability. These headphones still don't fold up so you can put them away nice and easily. They are bulky, awkward objects that will take up space in your bag, and Apple hasn't done anything to address this. They also continue to lack any IP rating. Bearing in mind how little protection you've got from that case, you really do need to be cautious of how you're going to carry these. At this price, even simple splash resistance would go a long way. Sometimes it feels like Apple wants to create conversation by actively not listening to the feedback of consumers. So, is it worth it? Well, there's a lot to take into account. The AirPods Max 2 is a genuine upgrade in all that Apple controls through silicon and software. The H2 chip should bring a whole suite of new features that will make this feel significantly more effective. Better sound quality, better noise cancelling. This could be a really compelling purchase. But when it comes to hardware, it feels like the exact same complaints still hold true. It feels like Apple's given it a new brain, but kept it in the same body. So for anyone who was waiting for a complete rethink of what a flagship headphone looks like from Apple in 2026, you might still have some questions. Well, I haven't had these on my head yet. I haven't been able to listen to the new amplifier. I don't know how much more effective the new noise cancellation is, and these things matter a lot. But based on what we know right now, the new AirPods Max feel like an upgrade that answers all the questions Apple wanted to answer, whilst ignoring the ones that have been shouted by its community for over half a decade. So what do you think? Is this enough of an upgrade to justify the price, or should Apple have done a little more with the hardware? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd be especially interested if you're an original Max owner and you're considering upgrading. If you found this video useful, hit like, hit subscribe, and we would love to see you next time on Digital Trends. Thank you.